Hello, welcome to Jackrabbit Journal. Hank, the bad news is the Jacks lose at Western Illinois in the regular season finale. The other bad news is the Jacks have to go on the road now for the first round of the playoffs. But the good news, they're in the playoffs. Where's your glass on this? Half full, half empty? Where are you at on this?
The good news, they're in the playoffs. They got a place at the table, an opportunity to make some things happen in a big playoff field. Obviously a tough test coming up this weekend. It's my glass is, I'm going to say it's half full because you got a place at the table. Sure, maybe you should have taken care of business last week in a game that probably should have been won. A lot of circumstances that played into that. We'll get more into that later. But an unfortunate series of events that led to the seeding, but place at the table.
All right, it could have been different had it turned out different at Western Illinois on Saturday, but it turned out to be a 30-24 loss in double overtime. The Jacks had a 10-3 lead at halftime and then fall behind 17-10 in the fourth quarter. They come back to tie it on a touchdown run by Kyle Paris with just over a minute and a half left in regulation, but go to overtime tied at 17. Each team gets a touchdown and a conversion in the first overtime. The Jacks get their touchdown on a great catch by Jake Winicky. In the second overtime, though, the Jacks get robbed on a no call on what should have been an obvious pass interference on second down, get sacked. They miss a field goal, do not get points on their possession, and Western wins it 30-24. And just too many mistakes, too many turnovers. Jacks had 4 turnovers in this game, gave up more than 500 yards, and it equals what we've been talking about is they don't get the mission accomplished and get that top 8 playoff seed.
No, it was obvious these guys weren't in a place mentally to be able to execute as effectively as what they would have liked to. I think that was obvious throughout. You saw mistakes every which way that you turned on both sides of the ball. Defense really struggled in a number of areas that we really haven't seen them struggle this year. And all in all, it was just an unfortunate trip in general for this team. And I'm anxious to see how they respond with the understanding that, sure, we missed out on a tremendous opportunity to be a seeded team in this playoff field, but hey, we're still in it.
All right, Jacks miss out on the top 8 seed in the FCS playoffs, but SDSU will play at Montana this Saturday.
Going to be an intense environment. You know, the Thanksgiving weekend, they're not going to stay home. They're not going to. Their holiday is spent in Grizz Stadium, whatever they call that thing, and there'll be 20 to 22,000 people there. And we've been there. We've been ahead. We just need to go there and play our best football, not worry about what's going on, but do our job.
Well, Jacks played at Montana in 2009, lost 61-48. Yes, Stig remembers that game. Apparently he's been reminded of it several times this week. Montana leads the FCS in attendance. They average more than 25,000 per home game there. And we'll talk more about the Jacks at Montana coming up. Right back, though, with Coach Stig and the big plays of the first half at Western Illinois.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. Hank, when you were playing, did you have a travel horror story like anything that the Jacks went through this past weekend trying to get to Western Illinois?
Well, plenty of travel stories, but nothing that horrific. Absolutely not. And that's even 2004, our first year Division I. We had 7 plane trips that year, 2 to California. Aside from getting back at 3 o'clock in the morning and a couple of delays in the airport, nothing like what the guys went through last week.
Stig says, of course, it's not an excuse, but the Jackrabbits sat in the airport in Sioux Falls for 10 hours, got to their hotel in Illinois around midnight on Friday, got stuck behind an accident on the highway from Peoria to Macomb, and that trip that's supposed to be a little over an hour turned into 4 hours. Kickoff got turned back an hour and a half. All of that had to have some impact on the players. Here's Stig.
It surely will have some fatigue effect. How it affects your concentration is totally up to you as individuals. But you know what? After the third play of a game, there should be some fatigue effect too if we play the game like we're supposed to. And so we needed to put that behind us, and I think we did for the most part.
All right, let's get to the first half here. And the field looks clear. They did clear it off. There was a lot of snow in Macomb for this game. But midway through the first half here, Nico Watson is a handful at running back.
Yeah, and well, you know, everybody's got to do their job. You know, sometimes when a guy runs through there, it looks like bad defense. We got 11 guys, they got 11 guys. That's simple zone. Stick your hat in the gap. Right here, we have 2 guys doing their job and a gang tackle. And that's what you need to do against him. And we didn't do it enough. In fact, we overemphasized tackling the ankles, and sometimes we were so low we didn't have anything to grab a hold of. but give him some credit.
All right, hold them to a field goal here on their first drive.
Yep, yeah, and it really disappointing to start the game that way, to have them get some points. But again, we kept them to a field goal, and that was a positive.
All right, Jimmy Forsyth coming here on a blitz.
Good call by Coach Brown, no blocker for him, and did a good job of not going for the kill shot, so he misses the guy, corralled him, and got the sack. So smart football player.
All right, 3-0 Western Illinois into the first quarter. Get into the second here and get going here with Lujan to Winnicke.
Yeah, just a simple, that wasn't his first read. Play action pass, looking to the other side. Knew Jake would be have a chance to get him on the sidelines, and good things happen when Jake gets his hands on the ball.
And Brady Mangarelli had a big day.
Brady had a great day. We had a great day of blocking for him. We had a great scheme for the running backs. That was a cold day, and so to hang on to the ball like he did, there he gives the ball to the official, but bounces it off a player's back. Good run by Kyle. This is Kyle Paris type of running. He had some really good runs in the game. He had a tough play in the game, but like I told the guys after the game, you put your heart out there, tough things are going to happen sometimes. This is one of those plays that if you make it, the game's totally different. And Trevor's in the process of putting that ball away, helmet on the ball. But we get that one, and you're going to see a bunch of these. We get that one, we probably win the football game.
All right, get a Carlson field goal to tie it up at 3, though.
Yep, yeah, and we needed to get some points there to tie it up, get some momentum, get some feeling that we're doing a good job. Here we are, too low, wrap and roll, grab his both guys.
Look at the thighs on this guy, though.
Yeah,
it's
well,
tough
he's a load. He's a load. Great young man. I talked to him after the game. But, if you got a guy there, you got to make a tackle, and we didn't.
All right, again, hold them out, though. They miss a field goal attempt here to keep it 3-3.
Yeah, we talked about the wind as we sat on the bus on the interstate. However long that trip took 4 hours, and knew it would be a factor. Good patience here by Lujan. Gets it to Brady, and then Brady, great effort here as a running back becoming a receiver.
And the football was like a rock, as you can see there. And then later here in this drive, Lujan to Dallas Goddard to get it inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, good play here, and you can see as this play develops, Dallas doesn't have a good handle on the ball. He's trying to get it back, and it's just cold out there, really cold, and a good job, good play by Zach and Dallas.
All right, and then Brady Mangarelli will cap it off with a touchdown run.
Yeah, again, good scheme, running lateral, looking for a hole. It gets in the end zone, happy, excited, kind of where we thought we'd be in the football game.
All right, so yes, you came out, you get the lead in the first half of this game. You overcame a lot to get to this point, didn't you?
Well, we did. We had the tough travel, we had the cold weather. They've got kind of a unique setup. It's a 5-minute walk from your locker room to the field. On a cold day, we normally go back in for 10 minutes. As at least the fat guys. So that's the price of playing at any place you play.
Well, turnovers, including the first lost fumble of the season for the Jacks, turn out to be costly in the second half. Back with that and the overtime result coming up.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. The Jackrabbits up 10-3 at halftime at Western Illinois. Right to the second half now with Coach Stegelmeyer. All right, get into the second half here, Coach, and a little defense for your guys, fumble recovery.
Yeah, huge play. Nick Mears gets a helmet on the ball. We get it picked up. You scoop and score. Guys are yelling, but you got a chance. You got a chance to put another score on the board. Good play here by Zach. And this is not his forte. In fact, we don't want him to do much of this. It's kind of interesting how the safety is the guy that gets hurt here. You can see him on the turf, and Zach didn't. But gutsy play in a game where we have to win.
All right, and then down 1st and goal here, looking to go up by a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah.
And score loose.
I literally want to cry when I see that play for the guy that made it. I mean, all those guys. There's so much that weighs in every one of those plays, and Kyle did come back and play some really good football, but unhappy about that situation.
All right, first lost fumble of the season, by the way. And then Sean McGuire, their young quarterback, played very well, didn't he?
He did. We gave him too much time at times. That's a mismatch. We need help by the safety. We didn't get it. Jesse's got to be underneath. Safety's got to be over the top. You got to play good defense. This shouldn't happen. Again, that guy should be double teamed based on our scheme. And he gets inside our Sam linebacker and then runs away from our safety, and that should be an interception, honestly. Great effort by this young man here. He's second string guy, but he showed he's a pretty good football player.
Leathernecks get it in here, tied up at 10-10 in the third quarter. And then they'll get the football back here, and McGuire will hook up with a very good wide receiver for Western Illinois, Lance Lenore.
Yeah, this is, they got guys in front of us. We talk about simple. If there's somebody in front of you, there's always somebody behind you. Read the quarterback's eyes, and we bid on those two guys in front of us, and consequently, what should have been a throw to for a 5-yard gain ends up being 30-some yards.
All right, still tied 10-10. Go to the fourth quarter, and this is the end of that drive with a touchdown.
Yeah, and again, we are overthinking this whole thing. We should have a free safety in the middle, helping out on that bunch set that they motioned to. And we just and again, a mature team, which we are, should not do that. Here's a guy trying to do something he doesn't need to do. Throw the ball away, give us a chance. Even if we just punt the ball, we're in a better situation. And he tries to make a play in a really crowded area.
All right, 17-10. Jacks are down here, and the interception there. And then force a 3 and out, though. Western gets it back, or put you guys back on your heels here. Brady Mangarelli goes 57 yards.
Well, we had a penalty. We had a blocking in the back on the punt return. Brady's just a really good football player, and he thrives in situations where you got to rise up. He's got great energy. Guys believe in him. They block hard for him. It gets us some energy here. And then we misread it. We try to do something we shouldn't do. I mean, that guy's double covered. You can see the receiver inside was not covered. And, when you put stress on yourself, the game moves too fast. You want it slowed down. You don't want it full speed. And you don't want it even faster than full speed. And just make the right decision. All right, huge play in the game.
Yeah, still 17-10 lead here. And I think it's Jimmy Forsythe comes in and blocks the field goal.
Yeah, we felt it was Kellen Sulik.
Okay.
But we gave it to Kel. We're giving him a T-shirt, so maybe we're going to check our film. But a huge play in the game because it kept it a one-score game. Here's Zach, stays in there, great protection. Gets it to Jake, and Jake's a big, strong guy, and gets some good yards. Again, you can see that he's probably not full speed yet, but a good player, really a good player.
And then a 4th and 7 coming up here, Coach, and Lujan will hook up with Winicky again to get it inside the 5.
Yeah, this is we don't want to be in this situation at this point in the game, but a great throw with some pressure, great protection. Jake makes a secure catch, gives us a chance to get on the board and tie the football game.
All right, Kyle Paris will do it on a 2-yard run here to tie it up at 17.
Yeah, I'm proud of our guys. The first time we ran that play, we got tackled in the backfield, had to punt. We coached it up, reminded them what they need to do, and he walks into the end zone. So, good job.
And you guys got the ball back there. Not enough time to do with anything.
Well, we did. We had a 3rd and 5. I should have called a timeout maybe and regrouped. But we did some good coaching there. Right here. Again, linebacker, stay in that throwing lane. I thought Nick Farina, the guy that's laying there in the turf, did a great job of coming over, but make it a tougher throw. And again, for when he needs a yard, it's pretty tough to stop, especially if he gets out in the open with his body size.
All right, here in overtime, Western Illinois scores first, 24-17, and then Lujan, great grab by Winicky again to tie it up at 24.
Yeah, he's got numerous guys he can throw to there, and unfortunately sometimes you look to Jake too often, but many times good things happen. But big play, that was a huge catch. That was a dynamic catch in the football game.
Get the second overtime here. You guys had a pass interference play that probably should have been called on 2nd down. This is on 3rd down, and they come up with a sack.
Well, it shouldn't have probably been called. He was all over our receiver, and those kind of plays affect your game. And but I'm glad I'm a coach and not an official. We got to make that. Their guy missed one. Our guy's got to make it. He missed it. Their guy missed it earlier in the game, and that puts pressure on our D. And it shouldn't boil down to this, right? But it does, and that's a bad feeling. That's for the 60 guys in the bus, the 110 guys in the football team, the lofty goals we had, the thing we had in front of us. That's a tough deal.
All right, 8-3, and just 4th straight year though. TJ Lally had an incredible game. 4th straight year for this senior class making the playoffs. That's a big accomplishment.
One of 5 programs in America, and we play in the toughest league in America, and so I couldn't be prouder of our football team. That game was hard to put behind us, but it's easy now because we got another chance, another season. We look forward to it.
All right, the Jacks are 8-3 overall, Hank. Losses to North Dakota State, Northern Iowa, Western Illinois, all teams that are going to be in the playoffs. Should the Jacks, though, still be a top 8 seed? Should they have been a top 8 seed even after this loss?
Well, I think that the case can certainly be made for this squad being one of the top 8 who are sitting back and watching this week and getting rested up and preparing for the second round of the playoffs. But They just didn't get the job done last Saturday, which happened to be the Saturday right before the committee was going to get together to talk about all this. They see a loss to Western Illinois. They say, all right, well, these guys aren't playing that great. And we've got some other teams who are finishing out on a win, if not multiple wins. So I can see how it happens. Regardless, the process for putting this bracket together is something, don't get me started on that
Talk about
yet.
that in a minute. Quality loss was the buzzword when the FCS committee announced the playoff field of 24 teams. That is a bunch of whatever was the reaction from a lot of places, especially in Missouri Valley towns. The conference is going to have to cannibalize itself in the early rounds, and we will look at the playoffs and the path for the Jackrabbits when we come back.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. Granted, it would be very difficult to be on a playoff selection committee and decide who gets into the playoffs and who's just going to have to live with being left out. Nonetheless, the FCS bracket is a little lopsided this year. Would you say so?
Yes, I would agree with that assessment, and it wouldn't take you long to take a look at this bracket and see what we're talking about with all of the Missouri Valley Conference teams on one side of the bracket. I get it. I know where I think I get it anyway. Where the committee's coming from. They're taking a look at what happened last year, and they're saying, hey, we understand that the Missouri Valley is the best conference in the nation at this level, and what we don't want to have happen is an all Missouri Valley Conference national championship game again. So we're going to put them all on the same side and let them beat each other up, and then we'll let some of the other guys into that championship game at the end, which is a joke.
There are 10 conference champions that are automatic qualifiers. You get 14 teams that are at large bids to make up the field here. Take a look at the Missouri Valley half of the bracket. South Dakota State at Montana. Northern Iowa will have a home game against Eastern Illinois. Western Illinois, the only team in the field with 5 losses to get in the playoffs. The Leathernecks will play at Dayton. They are the Pioneer League champions. North Dakota State is the automatic qualifier from the Missouri Valley, but Illinois State is the 2 seed. The Bison are the 3 seed. And then the other first round buys here, Portland State, the Big Sky champions. And there are 3 Big Sky teams in the field. Richmond was the runner-up in the Colonial Athletic Association. They get a bye, though. There are 4 Colonial Athletic Association teams in as well. And you hate to say it, but you just look past maybe this Montana game. If the Jacks get there, you got to go right back to Fargo. That's the one that I think is sticking more than anything else.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. And I think that throughout the conversations we've had around this system for the last few years, we've understand that economics plays a factor in all this. In fact, it's the main factor. And yet when you sit here, you look at the NCAA, a $1 billion organization, you sit here and say, how much of a factor can it actually be that this makes the most sense? I don't get it. There's a whole lot of people who are scratching their heads about this right now, Tom, and it's something that needs to be addressed.
It would be nice. Very good to see a true national tournament and get rid of regionalization, but that's the way it is this year. And South Dakota State is at Montana. Montana is 7-4. Remember, they beat North Dakota State in the season opener, but then Montana lost 4 of its next 7 games. They have won their last 3 now, and Montana is 7-0 all-time against South Dakota State. The last win in the playoffs in 2009 in that huge comeback game for the Grizzlies. 6'7" quarterback Brady Gustafson, the guy who threw for more than 400 yards on North Dakota State, is back. He missed 6 games in the middle of the season, but has played in the last 2 for Montana. So the Jacks at Montana in the first round. Thank you, Hank. Jackrabbit basketball coming up when we come back. The SDSU women giving Notre Dame all they can handle at Frost Arena. Plus, Chris Bono talking about how his wrestlers fared against Virginia Tech over the weekend and whether he will let his guys eat some turkey on Thanksgiving.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. Both Jackrabbit basketball teams are off to very good starts so far. The men were 4-0 going into their games this week in Cancun, and the SDSU women are 2-1 right now. Big win over Arkansas last Wednesday behind a career-high 31 points from Macy Miller. And then a really good Jackrabbit showing against Notre Dame on Saturday in Brookings in front of 5,532 fans. Notre Dame has played in the national championship game the last 2 seasons, but the Jackrabbits have the lead at the end of the first quarter in this game. They trail by just 3 at halftime. The Fighting Irish use a big third quarter to go ahead by 11, and the Jacks play them even in the fourth, end up falling 75-64. Carrie Young with 14 for the Jacks, Macy Miller with 23, and the women are playing in the Virgin Islands over the holiday with games on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And the Jackrabbit wrestling team hosted Virginia Tech on Saturday. The Hokies ranked number 6 in the country, and the Jackrabbits, though, had the lead in this match after wins by Alex and David Kosher, the brothers from Wagner, South Dakota, at 149 and at 174 pounds.
They did a great job, we preach getting bonus points, and they went out there and 2 major decisions. Well, one was a tech fall and then a major decision. They look good, and with that new 4-point rule, when you're on top of a guy, they're exploiting that, and it's a great rule and great kids.
So the Jacks with the lead in the duel going into the last 3 weights, but Brady Ayers and Nate Rodert both dropped close matches at 184 and 197.
We knew we had to have 84 97, and we felt we could win both of them, actually. And they just came out and kind of took it from us, and really 97, it was a 50-50 position we were in to win the match or lose the match, and we kind of just got out scrambled there, and we win that scramble, we win the match. If we lose a scramble, we lose the match, and unfortunately we lost the scramble, and we put our heavyweight in a real bad situation with having to win to beat the number 2 ranked guy in the country to win the duel. So, it is what it is, and like I said, we move on.
So the Jacks move on now to face the number 2 team in the country. That's Oklahoma State. That game is in Brookings on Friday, and that's a Big 12 conference match this year. And then the Jacks are at number 3 Iowa next week. And Bono says that his guys will get to eat some Thanksgiving turkey, but they will all be at his house this year for the holidays, so he can keep an eye on what they eat. We will see you next week on Jackrabbit Journal.